So, my topic today is loneliness, and I like to preach kind of old-fashioned. I don't like really using technology like slideshows and Kahoot. I like to just say it with words and quotes from the Bibles and stories. So, on the topic of loneliness, when we were doing worship, I don't know if you guys saw the name of the song, but it was called God is in the Room, and it's by Tasha Cobbs. And I really, really like this song because whenever I feel scared or I feel like I'm alone or I just don't want to be around people, I like sing this song. I listen to it. I play it on like my phone or whatever, and it really, really helps. And I just love that singer because she sings so beautifully and wait, give me 1 second. Hold on. Sorry. Um, and so I would like to share the story of Paul and Silas. So, after Jesus was crucified, Paul was one of Jesus's disciples. So he went to go and preach the gospel in Rome. He started talking about Jesus and stuff, and you could read all of this in Acts 28. And basically, he got arrested in Rome by Roman guards and stuff. And Silas was also arrested because of preaching the gospel. When they were sent to jail, the Bible says that they started singing gospels, and an angel of the Lord appeared and broke the cell doors. And it says that in fire and stuff that the angel appeared. And that's how you know that Paul was never alone. God was always with him. He stayed with him even when he was in the cell alone. He sang to God and God appeared. So we could always count on God to be there when we're alone. And I want to share a verse from Hebrews that says, "Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, for he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you." Hebrews 13:5. And basically what I feel like this verse tells me is that you don't need anything else but God. Whenever you're having problems or feeling lonely, I recommend that you seek God first before you go to anything else. And I remember when Cecilia was preaching, she said that she had went to therapy for help and that didn't really help her at all, and it was a complete waste of money. So that just proves my point that instead of looking for help from other people, which is a good idea sometimes, I feel like first you should go to God because he'll never leave you nor forsake you, just like Hebrews 13:5 says. He'll always help you in your time of need, and he'll never leave you out to dry. And it also says that if you're not careful, it's easy to let your loneliness get the best of you. You can become discouraged and sad. But as we look to the story of the Apostle Paul in his loneliest time as a prisoner on house arrest, we learn that God is always there for us. And when facing loneliness, you can't let it consume your life. Instead, you have to recognize God's presence, use your bad for good, and reach out to others around you, sharing the great news about Jesus. So, like now that I go to public school, it's been pretty hard because like we don't have chapel anymore, something I used to have in my MPCA. And you guys don't understand how much I miss chapel. It was the best. On Friday, I was always so excited to go to chapel. I loved worship. I always tried to pay attention to the message and hope to learn something. And that's something that I really miss about PCA. So, guys, when you go to high school next year, you're going to feel the pain. It's absolutely the worst thing ever. You might think chapel is boring, but trust me, once you leave, you're going to miss it a lot. And one thing I loved about chapel is I was never alone, you know. There was like 50 other kids in the room who were there, who I can confide in, who understood where I was coming from, who I've known for 10 years. Like Bianco, I've known him since I was like 4. I could literally tell him anything and he would understand where I'm coming from because I can trust him. Because I don't feel alone when I'm around him or my other classmates because of that bond that we have that we've um grown over these years. So yeah, now that I go to public school, sometimes I can feel really alone and sometimes I feel like I can't really confide in my parents sometimes. I have really close friends in my new school, but sometimes that's just not enough. They don't understand my past like some of you guys do. Like I've told you guys things a lot of people don't know about me. And they don't know. But like whenever I feel lonely, I pray and I literally talk to God for like an hour. Like you guys know I love to talk. So God always hears like an hour from me like every single day. And I go to God every single day. I never miss a day without praying to him because even if it's been a good day, I still want to tell him, even though he knows what's happening, how I feel. He's always there. He knows, but I need to tell him how I feel, and I need to confide in him because I trusted him for so long. I know that he knows that if I'm in pain or if I'm feeling something like bad or anything at this point. And like, yeah, my I just love praying to God. And even though like in my new school we have counselors, like each grade we have this thing called a grade counselor. um I've never actually gone to her with a problem because I don't know if I can trust her with that because we don't have that bond. But me and God, we have a bond since I was in the womb. I've trusted him since forever. So I can go to him whenever. And basically, my message about loneliness is to just confide in God. It doesn't matter if you have a good relationship with God or not. It's always good to confide in him and to pray to him because you may have like the bestest friend in the world, but at the end of the day, it's really just better to tell God your problems because he can fix it. Like, I'm not saying that you don't have to confide in other people. I'm just saying that God can help you a lot more. Like, for example, when I first started school, people started saying rumors about me in my new school that weren't completely true. And it was really hard because a lot of people were talking about me behind my back, especially some of my friends or who people who I thought were my friends. Apparently they weren't. Another thing is like don't trust everybody, especially new people you meet. That's something I learned the hard way. And when that first started, I didn't really trust anybody. I mean, I trusted like maybe 2 or 3 people in my school. That was it. And basically, I prayed to God every single day, praying, hoping, begging that kids would leave me alone. And it worked. It worked every single time. So not only am I saying this because I've read about it in the Bible, because I know it's true, because I've gone through the same thing, because whenever I have a problem and I pray to God, that problem is always resolved. If you go and tell your friend about it, maybe you'll feel better about lifting that weight from your chest. But what's your friend gonna do about it besides like maybe like I don't what's that word like soothe you, I guess. Um, but that's really it. Like God, he could just do so much more. Like if he can create the universe, I'm sure he can fix your little problems, okay? So, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah. Thank you for listening to me.